Hello folks, I'm L.A. Little and this is your daily NeoTA wrap. We take a look at these markets and we do it from a neoclassical perspective each time, asking ourselves what happened today and what does it tell us about the coming ones. I do this show 4 times a week, every Monday through Thursday, live at 9 o'clock Eastern Time and archived on YouTube, available to you on the channel L.A. Little. I also do a Sunday night show. It's a weekly show. We take a little bit of broader perspective. You can always catch those archives on YouTube and on live stream on the site there for a little while. We keep them around for about a week. But what happened today? Last night we were talking about what could happen. I didn't think it was going to happen, but then again, this old market, this old bull just keeps rolling. 175 points up, 1% on the Dow. It was pushing, and the Russell was pushing 1.5%, 16.75. Those were the big ones. Those were the ones that were leading the pack today. But you had good gains across all of them. Almost 1% higher on everything, 1.5% on the Russell. So nice big spike up. They get over all those key areas and kind of remove all doubt about where this market's going, and that is higher. Once more, higher. How many times can they do it? I really don't know, but it's 2 years of this and they just keep doing it, and when they do, you simply got to go with it. It's the way it is. We had kind of an unwind of a lot of what happened last week. Bonds came back down. They were up big on Friday, back down today. Dollar still strong. That's been the case for a while. That one really didn't get any move out of Friday. You got 1% down on the oil market, and gold was down 0.5% along with silver. So the markets keep driving higher and they keep pushing higher. So let's take a look at the situation we got here on the indexes and what happened. So remember, we were doing another retest regen, the higher one. This is the third one now. It also gives it up, but more importantly, that breakdown bar is traded over. We're over the top of it. Folks, this thing's going to go higher. It's going to go all the way back up to the highs, test the highs. Now, I suspect it's probably, especially if it comes straight up, it's going to pull back there because that's going to be an overextension. We may get some sort of a pullback tomorrow because a number of these finished off their ABCD bullish structures. We already had the NASDAQ and NDX do it, and they stretched even farther today. Today, this one finishes it off at 69, I believe it was, or 65. No, 69, around 69. So that one finishes it off today. You've also got the Dow finishing it off, but there's nothing to hold it back now. I mean, volume's not there, but, folks, it doesn't matter if price gets over things. It's saying people are willing to buy at a greater clip than people are willing to sell. And when that happens, price goes higher. In other words, there's not enough people standing in line to sell. And as a result, you get higher prices. And, however you want to read it, that is what just happened. And when that happens, they're probably going to go higher. Yes, they can get a little pullback, but no, they're probably going to go higher. And you got to respect that. Over on the Dow, you got the same thing. ABCD structure finishes here too. Of course, this has been a much weaker one, but that is finished off. That one's done. 16,833 is about where it was supposed to go. That's where it got to. It's got to get into the breakdown bar still, and it may get there tomorrow. It looks like he's going to try. But I suspect we'll get some sort of a little small pullback, not just here, elsewhere too. Set up one more ABCD structure to take these back up to the highs. That's probably the way this thing's going to work out. And if we go back to the S&P one more time, you'll see what I'm looking at there, because that one actually sets up pretty nice. This is a more important one to me. You have this finished off ABCD structure here. Let's just assume it comes down in the morning, comes back into maybe the support zone, and then turns around there. Well, it takes it right back to the highs. And if you get a less pullback, which is possible, this would be the buy point now. You might get a little bitty one, and that would take it over the highs. You know, this thing wants to shoot for 2,000. I mean, it's a big round number. It's a big round target out there. And now that you've got the push up again, another straight up move, that looks to be what it's going to try to do. So, yeah, at this point, you just got to go with it. And, you know, it doesn't work out to get any kind of pullback. We knew 3 days ago that it was sideways at least. Well, now it's not even sideways. It's pushing back to new highs. Now, it is interesting to note, although here on the NASDAQ itself, this one's going to go from bearish to bullish in one move, because the NASDAQ actually took out 2 swing point highs. So the lowest of the two will make it sideways, and the next one will make it bullish. And so the NASDAQ itself, ABCD structure, finished it off, now extends even past that, over 2 swing point highs. This will be a good indicator of just how strong this market wants to move, because typically multiple swing points break, you're going to get 2 to 3 bars extension on that time frame. So if you get those 2 to 3 bars up here and actually push higher on them versus just kind of wallow around here, then you're probably going to see the rest of the market go straight on up and not even take a break. So the NASDAQ, if I'm watching one tomorrow, this is the one to watch. And it was interesting today, because if you did see the opening numbers or watch the indexes today, what you actually saw was you saw the Dow being stronger than the NDX. And why is that? Well, because these guys have already finished off their moves. And typically, that's what's going to happen, right? You know, I'm not going to keep buying it higher and higher with as much force as I did when it was first starting. Especially when, you know, it's already moved so far so fast. Again, in this particular case, what are we going? We're going from basically 39 to 40.21. You're up 121 points. That's 3%. You know, that's a pretty good move. And it's in 5 days. It's in a week. That's a very good move. How much more do you want? How much more do you want to keep buying this thing up here? Well, they may do it, but it's going to get harder and harder as they do it. And that's why you're seeing the laggards start to catch up, because their valuations aren't as stretched on a relative basis. That's the way people view the markets and trade them, and that's what they're doing. Russell, weakest, also up, you know, good amount today. That one reversed on Friday. It looked like it was going to fail. Did not fail. Got its ABCD structure going. That's going to take it up to about 1171 or so. So back up into this area. So the Russell also trying to push higher. Volume's not there, but you know, it's the same old story. Yeah, it gives it a little less punch on the way up, but you know, when price gets over the highs and gets over a key area, which it did, getting on this June 5th bar, it's going to take it higher. So all the indexes point to more. Like any time this happens and you get a fast stretch, you can get a pullback of 0.5% or even 1%, you know, 0.75% intraday over a couple days, very easy. So you have to recognize, you know, that's the risk. But when the market starts to break and it's already told us it wants to go sideways, now it's telling us it is going to go back to the highs. And in the case of the NASDAQ NDX already at the highs, then you simply got to play along. You just can't deny it, because it's happening. And if it's happening, you got to play along. Otherwise, you're going to sit there and beat yourself, you know, up for nothing. You just run with it as long as it wants to run. That is what a trend following system does. And once you see support take over or resistance break down, you know, then you just have to go with it in the short term. Long term, intermediate term is a totally different thing, because those, you know, are even more stretched. You know, and actually I was talking to a member a little bit ago, writing an email to him. You know, the issue now, not for just me, for you, for anybody that's managing money, you know, whether it's their own or somebody else's, and more so their own, it gets harder and harder to keep staying with longer term trends, you know, when they've done this kind of a move. you know, yes, we can tack on another one of these things. I mean, we've got the little pullback again. You know, this is the 5th one as we counted it up last night. So we got the 4.5%, 5% drop. Now we're back pressing against the highs. Next target up here, 1984.85. Let's take a look at the sectors real quick. I didn't get a chance to go over most of these, so I'm just going to pop through these real quickly and see what they look like. I'm assuming that most of these are going to have broken higher, just like what we saw in the indexes. So here's IYT, volume's decent, going for the highs. SOX. The SOX was struggling today, really couldn't get going. It did end up slightly higher. It's got some serious resistance it's trading into. I wouldn't be surprised to see this one try to pull back given the action today. XLB going for the highs. XLE, this one also was struggling today and it's going to continue to struggle probably. That's one of the weakest. XLF. Okay, financials. Over all the swing point lows. It's broken them all. It's going for the highs again. Got over everything. So same story. Looks just like the indexes. XLI. This was the stalwart today. Had a nice big move. Going into a retest regen on the lows, or a bearish one. So it's finally back up to those bearish retest regens. That's 53.98, 53.69, and you got 2 more, 3 more, 4 more up there. So I would think that's the test. It got over the key bar. It's going to go after that one. Yeah, this one can go a little bit higher. XLK. And let's see what technology did. Well, this is interesting. So technology is not pushing nearly the XLK, which is big cap technology stocks, not pushing nearly as hard as you're seeing like the NDX, which is more concentrated in NASDAQ ones. Did get over the breakdown bar though. That says it's going to try to get to the highs too before it's over. XLP. And when I say before it's over, I'm just saying this general move. That, to me, that means you can get a little pullback and then you can go back up again. But you're not going to see a significant drop probably before you test those highs. That's the way these things have set up. XLP over the retest regen zones now. So it also, let me see, 44.71. Yep, it's over them. So that says this thing's sideways. So one of the more bearish sectors just went sideways. One of the other things you're going to see now as a result of this action, let me pull up the TA Today site, is you're going to see these current market trends. They're going to transition now, and you're going to see these start to transition. And once you get 2 or 3, then you're going to get most of them, and you've already got 2 here. Tonight you're going to get probably 2 or 3 more, it looks like, or at least, I guess I wasn't watching that close. I know you got some up here, so it looks to me like these are going to start transitioning back the other way. XLU, and let's see, that one's coming back in. That's still doing a retest regen, so that one's a little bit weaker. So you got 3 that are pretty weak. Here's another breakout XLV that's going to transition that one to bullish. And man, what a stretch that one was. 59.65 to 62 straight up. And a lot of that was IVB, which I believe went back to highs today. This thing was down 21%, folks, and now it's all the way back up. That's the kind of turns these things can make. 266.43. Not quite over, but it's got the volume. It's going to try to get over it tomorrow. Has already turned bullish, fixing to double down on the bullish side of it. So that's the IBB and the XLV and the XLY going for the highs, and it's going to try to turn sideways tomorrow. So it looks to me like you're going to get multiple sectors start to turn on the short-term time frame, and once again, it looks to me like this market's going to go higher. And if I stick out the the bullseye target of the 2,000 on the S&P, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see this thing try to get up to that area sometime over the next 2, 3, 4 weeks, if not sooner. That looks to be where we're heading, and it's not that far away. I mean, we're talking what, 30 points or something? Not that far away at all. Let me look at the OX markets, see what these guys look like. So let's see what the EEM emerging markets. That one's nothing special. And let me check the dollar, and yeah, the dollar's still hanging up there. The euro. Okay, nothing there. So let me quickly, so I can wrap up the first half of the show, let me quickly take a look at the 4 key world markets right now. So I'll start with the European markets. Okay, so that one's in the thick of resistance. That's going to be a key test tomorrow. FTSE gets over the breakdown bar. FTSE wants to go higher still. It had fell last week, gets back over. That's a takeaway bar, right? You take everything bad about the previous bar away. That one's going higher, and the DAX is going to go up to that resistance zone. So looks to me like Europe's going to test into resistance tomorrow. And let's look over at Hong Kong and the Hang Seng. This is the H shares, so it'll hammer reversal. That one's going to try to trade higher tonight. And Hong Kong had already gotten to highs, hung there, is going to go higher. So I can't see anything here to stop this tomorrow. It looks like to me most things are going to go higher. That would be my summary of tomorrow and what's to come. Let's take a quick step back now that I've gone through all that, and let me take some of your questions and some questions from others that have already sent some in. So as you know, you can email me, support@TA Today. I can pick them up there for you, and I can pick them up during the show here if you want to ask a question now. Text me 303-912-9110. I can do it that way as well. So I got a question here from Bill. Let's see what these look like. So let me pop them in real quick. So he's asking about, he's actually about 2 or 3 things, but he actually comments on some other ones. So I'll actually pick those up because I'm curious as to what they look like as well. Since I have a little time here, that would be good. The ones he wants is SPB VGR. Let's see what these look like. Okay, so SPV or VGR, let's take that one first since it just pops up here. Oh, vector group. What a run that is. So he's wanting to trade these on the intermediate term time frame on a bullish perspective. So let's look at what you got here. You got breakouts on multiple swing points on your weekly on this bar. Actually on the 2 consecutive bars. Volume not huge, but volume gets you over the tops and was actually a little bit higher, it looks like. So that's good. That's very positive actually. And let me pop back over to the daily. Oops, wrong one. Okay, so you're really stretched here. 20, that's almost $3. That's about a 12-13% move already. And there's no B point yet on the ABCD structures. Okay, so given something like this, what I would do is watch this bar. And I would try to trade into it on the bottom of that bar. That's where I'd try to get in. That's 22.15. And 22.15 gets you back in almost to this high. So that lines up pretty well. So I'd be looking from about 21.90 to 22.15 to try to get in and get a position started. It will pull back even though it looks like it never will. They always do. You just have to be patient. Keep it on your watch list. And if you have the stock monitoring tool with with TA Today, that thing will tell you when it does, and you'll be able to watch it that way. So here we go on Spectrum. This is the other one he's looking to get into, intermediate. That top is 88.39. Got the 40, over, under, that's a failure. On the weekly, you don't have the volume either. I'd be very patient on this one. It's going to come back in. Where can it come to? Looks to me about top of this bar, June 27th. That high is 85.50. It's not very far down. This low is 85.05. And the high here is 85.50. So 85.50 is the number. That's the magic number. That's where I'd look. The other ones he got into, some of these I talked about and did some 1-minute trades on them. ADM, I think we did a 1-minute trade back here when it broke out. Got a nice little pop. I think we were targeting, if I remember right, we were targeting about 53. It hasn't got there yet. Another one was AUK. I actually did a 1-minute trade on this one this morning, saying you want to buy this on a pullback. But I also tuned you into this thing back in June when it was breaking out back here. So you got a nice pop finally. You had to sustain here, and actually, members know I got out of some of the shares here, didn't get back in. I'm looking to, I got out of some of them. I still have some, but I never got to put those extras back on, even though we got this nice pullback, and it actually was a good pullback to buy. I just didn't have the guts to buy it. Sometimes that happens because it came up underneath here. Look at this, was a perfect buy too. I'm kind of disappointed in myself for not buying it. Look at that. Look at that retrace. This is on the weekly. Look at that retrace. Volume there, 6 million. You come back at 4, right? And then this thing skyrockets 10% back the other way. That was a nice buy. I missed it, on the extras. So now you got to look to pick it up here. So that's actually a nice trade as well. Okay, let's see what else we got. Let me see what this other one is here. So this gentleman is asking me on a short-term time frame, what do I think about AG? AG, what is AG? First Majestic Silver. Let's see what this one is. Hang on, let me put this in. So it's one to buy this on a short-term time frame. Let me get the daily up on it. Oh, I see what you're looking at. You're coming back in the lows, don't have the volume. Now this is kind of an interesting setup actually. It's a good question actually. So you break a low here, you break this low here, right? You try to break that one but can't. Look at the volume on that one. As you come down, you don't have nearly as much volume. Now you're starting to get a bounce. Your buy actually was on this bar. That was probably a hard buy. You can't expect too much though is the problem, right? Here's your issue, is that on the way back up, you've only got the target to here. So the only way you can buy this, in my opinion, is in that zone. And so if you get another shot at it in that zone on a short-term time frame, then it would make sense, right? Then you could get enough of a push to make it make sense. 40, 50 cents. It's not huge, it's playable. I'd be careful though, because I don't know if this is going to go higher right now. On a longer term time frame, it just doesn't have it. So if you're trading it, you could make that trade, but I would have to buy it back down in there or just pass on it. And you put your stop just right up underneath this, give it nothing, right? And that's the only way your risk and rewards would make sense. Okay, let me, since I have a little time, I don't see any more questions, let me pop back over to a few things and just share a few things with you folks who don't get the TA today trading signals or the earnings plays that I put out for all the members. And I'm just going to pop through a few of these because I haven't reviewed them myself. And what I'm doing, and here I'll actually pull it up over here for you. What I'm doing here is, as a member, you have the ability to come in and run something called a stock monitor. The stock monitor will key you in on any kind of a retrace or breakout in any of your watch list. And there's a lot of watch lists here, so you can go into any of these. And one of the special ones I create for members is the earnings one, and this looks at any post-earnings trades that have taken place, and it throws them out here and it breaks them down between bearish and bullish, what they are, breakouts, retraces, and so forth. So I'm going to pop back to my other screen so that I can use these same charts and not confuse myself, and I'm just going to look through a few of these and just see what they look like. Here's AAP. This one was a buy on the breakout. Got a little bit of an extension. It still looks like it's going to get to the high. That was a bullish one. Here's a bearish one. Let's see what this one looks like. Not getting much carry through. 804. Yeah, not much carry through at all. So right now that would be a losing position if one were in it. And as this market turns from bearish to bullish, you'd want to shy away from your bearish ones and move towards your bullish ones. Let's pop through a few more here, see what they look like. Oh, look at this one. This was a sweet one. So this one came out on 8/11. You buy it 2 days later. Later is the trade, and nice skyrocket up from there. That was a good one. ADK. This is what was the date on this one? 8/05. So you would have bought it here, and still a decent trade. Here's another bullish one, AER, which is AeroCap. Nice bullish trade there. That one you would have just gotten into on this bar. Matter of fact, that morning, 46. That's a nice trade, $3. So you can see a lot of these really look pretty good. Now this one's a hard one because it's already skyrocketed so much, so you have to buy the bottom, sell the top, but it's a nice range trade. And the whole ideal behind these kinds of trades is that what you're really doing, even in this trade, is you're saying, you know, this stock was rewarded on earnings. And if that's the case, then more than likely this stock is going to continue to be rewarded for the next 3 months, right? Am I going to come in here and short this thing or something when it's just done this and they've blown away estimates or whatever it was, right, that made it so bullish? No, and more than likely, if anything, you're going to see this thing trade higher, right? Maybe it comes down here and lets you, a little bit of a gap fill, but for the most part, you have to expect the next 2 to 3 months that it's going to carry through, especially if the general market turns bullish, which is what's happening. And so in that case, you have to say, okay, this thing was down here, it's going there, that's bullish, it's probably going to continue to do that. And that's the way these trades work, and that's why I think from a trading perspective, they can be so valuable. Here's another one that broke out nicely, also probably going to extend. Here's a bearish one, still extending bearish even with a stronger market. The problem is that you're swimming against the ocean when the ocean starts to turn, right? You're going against the tide, so to speak, because the tide right now is trying to lift. And so, you try to stay off the bearish ones and go with the bullish ones. Here's another one, BAM. This one was a bullish one. Look at it carrying forward. On and on, folks. It's hard to miss when you got these kind of picks. Again, provided to members on a daily basis. Review them as they go. Lots of them on here. These are the signals. These signals come in. Of course, the initial signal is a straight up just buy it or sell it if you're shorting or buying it long. 2 days after earnings, I review them the day after earnings. The next day is when you buy or you sell. This thing gives you signals of when they are or are not breaking out, and then you can pop in and take a look at them on these signals to try to fine-tune your entries, so to speak. So like here's another one, just CSIQ, right? Another one you just have to buy the breakout and go with it. This one was on my list this morning to buy. Nice strong charts. Here's one fading in. Now this one is actually I'm not even on, oh no wonder, I'm not even on the signals. This is the signal page. I was kind of wondering why I didn't see these on my page. I'm actually pulling off the list itself that comes out off the watch list rather than the signals. You can look at it either way. All right, well, that's it for tonight. Look for tomorrow. This market probably push a little bit higher, certainly to start the day most likely, unless the geopolitical pulls it down. And I suspect right now the geopolitical is what will give you the next pullback. Otherwise, this thing's just going to crawl. Have a great one, folks. Thanks for joining me. Take care. Tell a friend. Tell two. I'm LA. This is and was your daily NeoTA wrap. Have a great night, and I'll see you next time. Good night, folks.